Hi there, dear viewers. Today I'll show you how the conventional ignition system works. So as you can see here, it's a sectioned ignition coil, and I'll describe the components of this ignition coil, and also I'll describe how the ignition system in conventional ignition system works and its components. So let's start by describing each component in ignition system. So first one is battery. So as we know, in automotive, batteries have different types of voltage they produce. They may be 6 volts or they may be 12 volts. In our case, we consider our battery produces 12 volt. Okay, so there is a fuse, and also there is ignition key, and also here is a ballast resistor, which is responsible to reduce and protect the amount of voltage which enter to the ignition coil. This is an ignition coil, and it has two windings. The primary winding, as you can see, the black one is the primary winding, and the red one is what you call the secondary winding. And both of those, the two windings are wound around the central part, which is called the core. This one is a laminated core, and in this laminated core, both the primary and secondary winding are wound around this core. Okay, so when it comes to terminals, this ignition key have two terminals, the positive and the negative, and also have a high tension terminal, which is high amount of voltage passing through. So when the voltage coming here, 12 volt are coming through this one, which is called the primary winding, and it rotates around the winding and it outs to the negative terminal, as you can see here. So when it comes to this port, this is a distributor, and which is responsible to control the amount of high tension, to control the high tension voltage and to distribute to each spark plugs. And also it has different components, as you can see here. This one is distributor shaft, this is rotor, this is contact breaker point, and this one is what you call condenser. It's condenser, and it's responsible to protect this point. Okay, this is what you call contact breaker point, and it's responsible to open and close the negative terminals of the ignition coil. And when it opens and closes, it makes or it produces spark between these 2 points. So by the cause of those sparks, the point or the pointers or the tips are worn out. So to protect that thing is this port, what you call condenser, or in other words, they may say that capacitor. So this capacitor are mainly used to what? To protect this contact breaker point. This one is rotor. The rotor is responsible to distribute for each individual spark plug high tension voltage. So this one is a spark plug. So to revise the flow of electric, electric, it comes through this positive terminal of battery, through fuse, through ignition key, through ballast resistor, then positive terminal, then high tension cable, then negative terminal, then contact breaker point. And when the contact breaker point is closed, it passes through this one and have a ground, and it completes a full circuit. In this case, there is no spark produced in our spark plugs. So there is no spark produced in this case because the contact breaker point is closed. So the circuit have ground, and it makes a full circuit. So let's describe and let's describe how the spark plug is produced, and later I will describe the second condition, that is the condition where the spark plug or the high tension voltage is around 20,000 volts. So I'll describe how this volt is created. So since we are using DC voltage, or our power source is DC volts, that means battery. So the mechanism of producing, in this case, voltage is by changing the direction of the voltage, is the first case, and second one is by reducing the amount of magnetic field, by collapsing magnetic field. So by those two cases we produce EMF. When the contact breaker point is open, okay, so when the contact breaker point is open, there is no ground since it's open, the circuit. So the first direction of current is like this, okay, like this, and ground. But when the contact breaker point opens this circuit, the current passes through this one and goes to what? Condenser. And in this simultaneously, when the contact breaker point opens, the magnetic field which is created here is collapsed dramatically. So it collapses. So when the primary, there is high intensity of magnetic field created by this primary winding, and when the gap by contact breaker point is open, this high amount of high intense magnetic field collapses dramatically. So when this magnetic field collapses dramatically, there is a creation of electromotive force, okay? EMF is created in this case, okay? Electromotive force or voltage is produced. So this voltage is passing through this secondary winding like this, and it goes through this what? This high tension cable to rotor. So this high tension voltage is around 20,000 volt. So it goes through this what? It goes through each spark plug, and it distributes by what? By this way, by this part. This part is called rotor. So this rotor is rotating by this gear. This gear is connected to the camshaft, and when the camshaft is rotated, this shaft or distributor shaft is rotated. This distributor shaft rotates this rotor. So when the rotor rotates, it distributes the high tension voltage to each individual spark plug. So this is a way of creating spark plug in conventional high tension, conventional ignition system. So let's show you the inside parts or the inside components of the ignition coil. So I disassemble this one like this. Let me disassemble this thing like this, As you can see, here is a thick wire, and it's wound like this, and the primary or the first terminal is connected to the positive terminal. As you can see here, this have to be positive terminal. So the second terminal is like this one and connected to this terminal, okay? So you can see here it connected to this one, and as I described earlier, there's a core between the inside the primary and secondary winding. That core is this one, and it is what core? It is laminated core. It's laminated core. So you can see it's laminated core, and the primary winding and the secondary winding is inside here. So this is a construction of ignition key or the internal components of what you call the ignition coil. So thank you for watching. This is a illustration for today. It's about ignition or conventional ignition system. So this is today's video, and please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Bye bye.